Top 10 Most high-profile murders in the UK. Britain has a dark history of crime, cases that shocked the nation, changed the law, and left a lasting mark on society. Tonight we count down the top 10 most high-profile murders in the United Kingdom, stories of betrayal, brutality, and tragedy that will never be forgotten. 10. The Saturday Night Strangler, Joe Capin. In 1973, Swansea was terrorized by a predator who struck on Saturday nights. 3 teenage girls were raped and strangled, their murders going unsolved for decades. Police had no leads until DNA technology advanced. In 2002, investigators finally identified the killer, Joe Capin, a local bus driver. But he had already died. The revelation closed one of Britain's oldest cold cases, but not before leaving deep scars on the community. 9. Leanne Tiernan, 2000. 16-year-old Leanne Tiernan disappeared after a shopping trip in Leeds. Her body was found months later, hidden in woodland. The investigation was one of the largest in West Yorkshire's history. A man named John Taylor was eventually convicted, his DNA linking him to the crime. The case highlighted the growing power of forensic science in catching killers. 8. Kate Bushell and Lynn Bryant, the unsolved murders. 2 women, 2 separate murders. No justice. In 1997, 14-year-old Kate Bushell was brutally killed near Exeter. A year later, 41-year-old Lynn Bryant was murdered while walking her dog in Cornwall. Despite exhaustive investigations, both cases remain unsolved to this day. Each year, police renew appeals for information. For the families, hope and heartbreak continue side by side. 7. The Chauhan family murders, 2003. This was a crime that shocked London's South Asian community. Businessman Amarjit Chauhan, his wife, their 2 young children, and his mother-in-law were abducted and killed by a criminal gang, hoping to take over Chauhan's company. Their bodies were later found dumped in the sea. The sheer scale and cruelty of the crime stunned the nation, and led to swift convictions for those responsible. 6. Beverly Allett, the Angel of Death. A nurse trusted to save lives. Instead, she ended them. Between 1991 and 1993, Beverly Allett murdered 4 children and attempted to kill several others while working at a children's ward in Lincolnshire. She was given 13 life sentences. The case horrified the public and raised urgent questions about patient safety in hospitals. 5. Levi Belfield, the predatory killer. In the early 2000s, Britain was shaken by the murders of young women, Marcia McDonnell, Amélie Delagrange, and 13-year-old Millie Dowler. The killer was Levi Belfield, a predator who stalked his victims near bus stops and quiet streets. His conviction brought relief, but the brutality of his crimes left an indelible scar. Belfield remains one of the most reviled killers in modern British history. 4. John Christie, the Monster of Rillington Place. In the 1940s and 50s, John Christie turned his Notting Hill home into a house of horrors. He murdered women and hid their bodies inside the walls and under the floorboards. His crimes also caused a notorious miscarriage of justice. Timothy Evans, Christie's neighbor, was wrongfully executed for murders Christie himself committed. This case played a key role in the eventual abolition of the death penalty in Britain. 3. Mary Ann Cotton, Britain's first serial killer. In the 19th century, Mary Ann Cotton became known as Britain's first serial killer. She poisoned up to 21 people, including her own children and husbands, often for insurance money. Her calm demeanor hid her deadly intentions. She was hanged in 1873, but her crimes remain a chilling reminder that serial murder is not just a modern phenomenon. 2. Fred and Rose West, the House of Horrors. Behind the doors of 25 Cromwell Street in Gloucester lay unspeakable evil. Fred and Rose West murdered and buried victims beneath their home, including family members. Their crimes shocked the nation when uncovered in the 1990s. Rose was convicted of 10 murders. Fred took his own life before trial. The case became one of the darkest chapters in British criminal history. 1. Harold Shipman, Dr. Death. At number 1 is perhaps the most prolific serial killer in modern history, Harold Shipman. A trusted family doctor, Shipman is believed to have killed over 250 patients, mostly elderly women, with lethal injections. His betrayal of trust sent shockwaves through Britain. leading to sweeping reforms in medical oversight. He was sentenced to life in prison, but took his own life in 2004. The name Harold Shipman remains synonymous with betrayal, power, and death. These cases shocked Britain. Some changed the law, some remain unsolved mysteries, and all of them are reminders of the darkest side of human nature. Which of these cases do you think had the greatest impact on the UK? Let us know in the comments.
10 more high-profile murder cases in the UK. Across the United Kingdom, some crimes have left a permanent mark on history. They shocked communities, filled newspaper headlines, and in some cases remain unsolved mysteries. These are 10 more of the most high-profile murder cases in the UK. 11. The Yorkshire Ripper, Peter Sutcliffe. Throughout the late 1970s, fear gripped the north of England. Women lived in terror as a mysterious killer stalked the streets. It took years of investigation, thousands of interviews, and countless late nights before police finally caught him, Peter Sutcliffe. Known as the Yorkshire Ripper, his arrest in 1981 ended one of the country's most notorious manhunts. 12. The Moors murderers, Ian Brady and Myra Hindley. In the 1960s, Ian Brady and Myra Hindley lured children to their deaths, burying their victims on Saddleworth Moor. Their crimes horrified Britain, and even decades later, the name Moors murders still sends a chill down the spine. The desolate moorland remains a lasting symbol of the case. 13. The James Bulger case minus 1993. It was a crime that stunned the world. In 1993, 2-year-old James Bulger was abducted from a shopping center in Liverpool. The perpetrators were just 10 years old themselves. The tragedy not only shocked the nation, but also forced Britain to confront difficult questions about childhood, responsibility, and justice. 14. The Carl Bridgewater case minus 1978. In Staffordshire in 1978, 13-year-old Carl Bridgewater was shot while delivering newspapers. 4 men were convicted and imprisoned for the crime, but years later their convictions were overturned. The case has since become one of the most famous miscarriages of justice in British history, and the true killer has never been identified. 15. The Lynette White case, 1988. In Cardiff, 1988, the murder of 20-year-old Lynette White sparked one of Britain's most controversial trials. 5 men were wrongly convicted, only to have their verdicts later overturned. It wasn't until 2003 that DNA evidence revealed the real killer. The case exposed shocking failures in policing and transformed the way evidence was handled in the UK. 16. The Esther Soper case minus 1976. On New Year's Day, 1976, 52-year-old Esther Soper was killed in her Plymouth home. Despite repeated appeals and decades of investigation, her case remains unsolved. Nearly 50 years later, it still stands as the oldest unresolved murder in southwest England. 17. The Lisa Hession case minus 1984. In December 1984, 14-year-old Lisa Hession was attacked and killed while walking home in Lee, Greater Manchester. Despite widespread investigations and appeals, no one has ever been charged. Her case is still open, and her family continues to hope that modern forensic science may one day provide answers. 18. The Cannock Chase murders, 1960s. In the mid-1960s, 3 young girls were murdered in Staffordshire's Cannock Chase. The peaceful woodland became the center of a nationwide investigation. Raymond Morris was eventually convicted of one of the murders, but many still believe he was responsible for more. The Cannock Chase murders remain one of Britain's darkest cases from the post-war era. 19. The Louisa Dunn case, 1967, solved in 2025. In 1967, 75-year-old Louisa Dunn was murdered in her Bristol home. For decades, the case remained unsolved, a cold file buried in police archives. But in 2025, nearly 60 years later, advances in forensic technology finally secured a conviction. It became one of the longest-running murder investigations in UK history to ever be solved. 20. The Jill Dando case, minus 1,999. Jill Dando was one of the most beloved presenters on British television. In 1999, she was shot outside her London home. The nation was shocked. One man was convicted, then later cleared, and to this day, her murder remains unsolved. The mystery of who killed Jill Dando continues to haunt Britain. These stories, some solved, others unsolved, are more than just crimes. They are moments in history that changed communities, altered the justice system, and remain etched in the national memory. Which of these cases do you think had the greatest impact on Britain? Let us know in the comments any of these cases we should dive deeper into. Don't forget to subscribe for more true crime history. More detailed stories of 10 high-profile UK murder cases. 20. Stephen Lawrence, minus 1,993. Stephen Lawrence was an 18-year-old aspiring architect in Eltham, London. His attack highlighted serious flaws in policing and racial bias in the early 1990s. The case led to the Macpherson Report, which fundamentally changed the way the police handle racially motivated crimes. Years later, 2 attackers were convicted, but Stephen's legacy lives on through education programs, anti-racism campaigns, and reforms in the justice system. 21. John Hay, 1940s. John Hay, known as the acid bath vampire, operated in post-war Britain. He used elaborate schemes to gain financial benefit from his victims. His capture in 1949 drew massive public attention, and his trial demonstrated early forensic techniques. Today, his case is studied in criminology and forensic science courses as an example of investigation strategies and criminal profiling. 22. Simon Dale, 1987. Simon Dale, a retired architect living in a remote Shropshire home, was found dead under mysterious circumstances. Investigators explored multiple theories, but no conclusive evidence was found, and his former wife was acquitted. The case remains a historical mystery and illustrates the challenges of investigating crimes in isolated locations, where evidence can be scarce and witnesses limited. 23. Janine Downs, minus 1,991. Janine Downs was a 22-year-old woman in Telford. After her disappearance and the subsequent discovery of her body, police conducted one of the largest local investigations in decades. Despite interviews, forensic analysis, and appeals to the public, the case remains unresolved. It highlights the difficulty of solving crimes when there are few leads or witnesses in rural communities. 24. Billy Joe Jenkins, 1997. 13-year-old Billy Joe Jenkins lived in Hastings with her foster family. Her case was widely covered in the media due to its legal complexities. Her foster father was tried twice but acquitted. No other suspects have been convicted. The case raised awareness about the legal system, family investigations, and child protection policies in the UK. 25. Harry Baker, 1958. Harry Baker, aged 61, disappeared in Merseyside during his daily routine. 17 days later, his body was discovered in Cheshire, prompting a significant cross-county investigation. The case remains unsolved, but illustrates the challenges police faced in the 1950s, including limited forensic technology and coordination between police departments. 26. Tracy Mertens, -1,994. Tracy Mertens, a mother of two, was abducted in Birmingham just before Christmas 1994. Extensive investigations involved interviews, local searches, and appeals to the public. Though her case remains unsolved, it demonstrates how community involvement and media coverage can be critical in seeking answers in complex investigations. 27. Alistair Wilson, 2004. Alistair Wilson, a 30-year-old office worker, was shot outside his home in Nairn, Scotland. The investigation involved forensic teams, witness interviews, and international cooperation due to possible cross-border connections. Despite these efforts, the case remains open. It serves as a modern example of unsolved violent crime in a small community. 28. Adam, River Thames Torso, -2001. A young boy, referred to as Adam for anonymity, was found in the River Thames in 2001. Police carried out extensive forensic analysis and nationwide appeals for information. While his identity and the circumstances of his death were never fully established, the investigation set new standards in handling unidentified victims and interagency cooperation. 29. Gareth Williams, 2010. Gareth Williams, a mathematician working for GCHQ and MI6, was found deceased in a locked sports bag in his London flat. Investigators explored all angles, including workplace security and personal life. The unusual circumstances attracted international attention, and although the official cause was likely accidental, the case continues to spark public discussion about safety, intelligence work, and unexplained deaths. 30. Helen Waddington, -1,966. 17-year-old Helen Waddington was killed in a Berkshire village. The case remained unsolved for decades. Recent advances in forensic technology and renewed public interest eventually helped generate new leads. Helen's story highlights the evolution of investigative techniques over time and the persistence of police in solving cold cases. Let us know in the comments which cases you remember and why. Would you like us to delve deeper into any particular cases we have already covered? Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more true crime stories. 41. Jill Dando, -1,999. Jill Dando, a popular BBC television presenter, passed away outside her London home in 1999. Her case drew nationwide attention and highlighted the importance of public safety and community awareness. It remains an example of high-profile investigations in the UK. 42. Lucy Partington to 1973. Lucy Partington, a student in Gloucester, went missing in 1973. Years later, her case was connected to broader investigations into long-term criminal activity. This shows how revisiting cold cases with new evidence can provide clarity and answers. 43. Fred and Rosemary West, 1967 to 1987. Fred and Rosemary West were involved in multiple criminal cases over 2 decades. Their case highlighted the importance of social services, community vigilance, and cooperation between law enforcement agencies to identify patterns in long-term investigations. 44. Stephen Port, 2014-2015. Stephen Port's case involved a series of suspicious deaths in London. Investigations revealed opportunities to improve police monitoring of unusual patterns, particularly in vulnerable communities. The case led to reviews of investigative procedures and community engagement strategies. 45. Meredith Kirker -2007. British student Meredith Kirker passed away while studying abroad in Italy. The international attention her case received highlighted student safety and the importance of collaboration between different countries' police forces in cross-border investigations. 46. Sarah Payne -2000. Sarah Payne's disappearance in West Sussex led to national campaigns for child safety. These efforts resulted in Sarah's Law, giving controlled public access to information about individuals convicted of certain offenses, improving child protection measures across the UK. 47. Rachel Nichol -1992. Rachel Nichol's case on Wimbledon Common emphasized the importance of forensic evidence, witness protection, and responsible media reporting. Lessons from this investigation have been incorporated into UK police training and legal protocols. 48. Joanna Yeates -2010. Joanna Yeates, a landscape architect in Bristol, went missing in 2010. The case involved a large-scale investigation with strong public cooperation, demonstrating the value of coordinated procedures for missing person cases. 49. Sophie Lancaster -2007. Sophie Lancaster's passing in Lancashire led to national awareness about targeted attacks on minority communities. Her story inspired campaigns promoting tolerance and understanding, as well as educational initiatives on hate crime prevention. 50. Lucy Letby, 2010-2023. Lucy Letby's case in the healthcare system prompted nationwide reviews of hospital safety procedures and whistleblowing policies. It highlighted the importance of accountability and monitoring in professional environments to ensure public trust. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more true crime stories. Set 4. High-profile UK murder cases, 31 to 40. Deep dive. 31. Helen Waddington -1966. 17-year-old Helen Waddington was killed in a Berkshire village. The case remained cold for decades. Advances in forensic science and renewed police efforts eventually generated new leads, demonstrating how persistent investigation and modern techniques can help solve decades-old mysteries. 32. John Gill -1888. John Gill was a young boy who was murdered in Bradford in 1888. The case occurred during a period of heightened concern over violent crime in London and northern England. Though it remains unsolved, It has been studied in historical criminology as part of the broader context of late 19th century policing. 33. Frances Coles to 1891. Frances Coles was murdered in London's Whitechapel district in 1891, just a few years after the infamous Jack the Ripper cases. Her death remains unsolved but is often referenced in historical analyses of policing, forensic limitations, and social conditions in Victorian London. 34. Evelyn Foster, 1931. Evelyn Foster was found in her burned-out car in Northumberland in 1931. The case baffled investigators and the public alike. It is remembered today for the unique challenges it posed to early 20th century law enforcement and the lessons it provided in evidence preservation and investigation techniques. 35. Florence Nightingale Shore, 1920. Florence Nightingale Shore, goddaughter of the famous nurse, was killed while traveling on a train to Hastings in 1920. Her case became notable not only for the mystery surrounding it, but also for the public attention it received, which highlighted the evolving role of police in investigating crimes against women at that time. 36. Caroline Mary Lourdes, -1908. Caroline Lourdes was shot near her home in Kent in 1908. The case generated national attention and remains unsolved. It is often cited in historical studies of Edwardian crime and policing, providing insight into investigative techniques in the early 20th century. 37. George and Lillian Peach, -1952. George and Lillian Peach were murdered in their Northamptonshire home in 1952. Despite extensive local and national investigations, no arrests were made. The case is remembered as a difficult mid-century investigation and is referenced in historical studies of unsolved UK murders. 38. Anne Noblet to 1957. 17-year-old Anne Noblet was found deceased in Hertfordshire in 1957. Known as the Freezer murder, it remained unsolved for decades. The investigation is now studied for its procedural lessons and for understanding the social and investigative challenges of mid-20th century rural policing. 39. Madge Kirkby and Elizabeth Peers, 1940s. Two women, Madge Kirkby and Elizabeth Peers, were killed in Liverpool during the 1940s. Both cases remain unsolved, but are remembered for their historical significance and for the way they shaped public awareness about urban crime in post-war Britain. 40. Susie Lamplugh, -1986. Estate agent Susie Lamplugh disappeared in London in 1986 after leaving to meet a client. Declared legally dead in 1994, her case remains open. It became a landmark for missing person investigations, leading to the creation of the National Missing Persons Helpline and reforms in handling disappearances. Let us know with the comments which cases you remember and why. Would you like us to delve deeper into any particular cases we have already covered?